On the sidewalk, guys. Get on the sidewalk.
Anyone back there need water? Trail support card?
I'll take a card.
You have pens.
Yeah, I got all sorts of writing utensils. Yeah.
It's like to pass.
Oh, okay.
They were there, so then I took out a new stack.
Arizona's second concentration in this election cycle is District 7, while South Phoenix is the state's most impacted community.
You're not my dad.
The established political landscape has
I don't have to
failed
listen to you.
produce a moving candidate in this city council race. We want you all to be a part of District 7. There will be an event October 7th on Wednesday. And you don't have to live in District 7 to get involved. But if you do, again, that's even better because District 7 is for you. To learn more about it or to sign up, please text DFUND to ASAP. We also have a Pepsi tank, and that we have a voice, and we will use it, because as Sakara Shakur said, we have nothing to lose but our change.
We have nothing to lose but our
We keep us safe. 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 Black Lives Matter. Black Lives Matter. What the? We just had a car try and run people over.
The people, united, will never be defeated.
And we got cops right there who just fucking watched it. All those cops just watched vehicular assault just happen. Did jack fuck all about it. Deion Johnson! 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 Johnson! Deion Johnson! Deion Johnson! Deion Johnson! Deion Johnson! Justice! Now! Justice! Now! Justice! Now! Justice! Now! Shut it down! 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 Marching?
Yep.
Marching!
Wait, maybe just security. Sorry.
Oh.
Sorry. Security's
Smart.
necessary.
We keep us safe! 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 Fuck 12! Fuck 12! Fuck 12! No peace! Police! 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 Welcome, budding radicals and curious reactionaries. I am Anthony, your host, and this is the show where we're going to teach you how to make bad things to do dangerous stuff with. No, we're not going to do that. That would be a very reckless and irresponsible thing to do, and we're not going to do that at all. But you know, what we're trying to do is we're trying to be somewhere where you can go that you're going to get something different. You know, there's a lot of left-wing and radical, very critical news that you're not seeing out there
that even us in the radical community, like, we talk to each other and like, did you see this? Did you see that? Like, we're all reading different stuff. So we're trying to build a community where you can find all of this thought together in one place. So with that, we're going to be changing up the format. As you saw in the show description, we're fucked. We're fucked. Oh my God, we're fucked. Yeah, the situation is, I mean, it's just between COVID, unemployment, and then being an entertainment worker, which I'm just giving up on. It's just getting hard to keep track of that stuff on a week-to-week basis. So we're not going to be doing those as weekly segments anymore. We'll still be doing This Week in Protest. I'm going to be focusing more on keeping track of those events because things are definitely pumping up. I don't know if you saw what happened in Denver, but yeah, someone got shot in the face by a Pinkerton thug. We'll get on to more of that later. But first, let's do a personal check-in because I firmly believe that the first revolutionary act you can do is fucking talk about your feelings, which we're taught just not to do, especially as men. Yeah, it's been a fucking long week. Really stressful, especially with the the Live Nation stuff, getting kicked off of unemployment unexpectedly, and being behind on money and stuff. It's daunting. So luckily I got a job. I did find a job like right away that's okay-ish money. It's putting up Christmas lights. And I can earn money again, so that's good. So I can start taking money to do mutual aid with, because some of my friends are stuck making not enough money to do things like buy insulin with. So we're going to start doing fundraising that way. If you're having connection problems, let me know in the comments. Because it looks like there's connection issues on Facebook. Connection issues. Comment. Because yeah, I'm not going to pay attention to that. Because that's going to be distracting, and I'm not going to do the show. This is why you have someone else monitor. But Gren couldn't be here today because he is doing a show. Well, not a show. He's doing a recording, maybe live stream, with Sundressed. Anyway, yeah, back to the shit I'm going through. So, yeah, like, all my bills are just more expensive anyway. So, like, I'm going to have to, like, make really, like, fucking hustle things to, like, make it work. So we're going to be trying to take what we've learned from live streaming and help artists find a way to make money doing live streaming, professionalizing it a little bit more, and utilizing, you know, the Cash App and the Patreon. We'll be working on that more in the future. But you know, we're also looking to do more little A stuff, which I'll explain what little A anarchism is later. But like, we've been taking hikes and talking about our feelings, which you'll see at the end of the show. We've got some hike footage from a mountain we climbed in Sedona on Tuesday, which was fucking great. I needed that. We hadn't climbed in 2 weeks or so, and I was starting to really get like edgy. And then the unemployment stuff happened last week, and that put me even further on edge. Yeah, we went up to Sedona and found a pretty. It was daunting, the amount we had to climb, and there was some like there was this like bridge. It was just like it's just a plank of wood, really, that we really didn't need to do. We could have climbed up a little bit more of a difficult way. Yeah, like it was like a lot of just up and up and up and not a lot of slow inclines. And yeah, we all really needed that. So I'm definitely like looking forward to the weather and getting my van fixed. I owe people sunglasses. People who I owe sunglasses to, message me. I don't exactly remember everyone that we did that with months back. Yeah, I'm gonna have my van fixed tomorrow, which also means I'm gonna need to ask for more money to pay my bills. Hopefully this job gets busy and they want to pay me more. Yeah, so that's been pretty much my week. Getting to monetize my life again is going to be nice. That's kind of why I favor like UBI over something like I'm getting distracted by the connection stuff and trying to troubleshoot in my head. It's getting to own your work and getting to build your own wealth is like a really important thing that a lot of us have just been denied for way too long, even if we have like decent paying jobs. Yeah, like we're going to be looking to build this into a worker co-op where we use the skills that we have to help our community and help the other organizing groups build their PR campaigns and help the artists in the area build a cost-effective way to reach out via the internet. I spent a good amount of time on the phone with someone who's looking to build a creator-centric platform. I'm trying to convince him that it should be cooperatively owned, that all the creators on the platform should have access to voting and decision making and profit sharing through direct dividends. Yeah, I'm not gonna pay attention to that at all. Then I'm not gonna watch the comments because it's showing me how bad the connection is. I gotta figure that out. It's a work in progress that we're gonna work on, so stay tuned for that. Everything is so fucked, right? Let's just get on with the final unemployment update. It's just gonna get fucking worse. Like they're taking like another break. They're like edging up and up on the deal, no deal. By the time they do get something, like so many people are going to be so behind, and the likelihood of them giving any kind of like high-end back payments as far as like, hey, here's extra $600 for the time we didn't give it to you. That's just not going to happen. Like, so many people are going to have lost so much wealth and are going to be so behind, that by the time they do anything, like, the economy is going to be fucked anyway. You know, like, I'm having a hard time, like, even just like staying focused on this, like, right now. Like, just finally getting a job that's just gonna be till February. I have to figure out how to make some alternative revenue stream by February. You know, and then you look at like something like the airline workers, and Disney is going to be firing a whole bunch of people. 28,000 people from Disney and 45,000 people from the airline industries. And if you don't remember, like I said, the airline industries were threatening to go on general strike, and now they're just firing a whole bunch of people. Yet people are flying. The airline industries have been making record profits for decades, so they should have enough in the bank to be able to like get through this. Yeah, I'm having a hard time getting through this. Like, I have a job now, and like, I have fucking no guarantees of anything. And I can barely focus on doing something I enjoy. Like, you can see like the up and down progress of like, I did really good on this show, and then like as my whole situation got like turned upside down by this shock in unemployment and reemployment, but it's still underemployment. Like, even if I get good amount of overtime, I'm going to be still making a lot less money than if I was working like 30 hours a week doing my independent contracting. And you know, I'm like one small story. And the more I have to do shit by myself and just figure it out myself, the more I'm fucking drowning. Like I can't really rely on me being able to ask my friends to help me get through most of this stuff. And especially as someone who has bipolar disorder, where like, you know, especially when I'm under a lot of stress and shock and especially grief with what I'm going through, doing all of these like bureaucratic steps and hoops to get like something like access, or like going through I have no fucking clue if I did the petition process correctly for unemployment, to just get my back pay from like the month I wasn't receiving money, that I didn't know it. You know, I was really hoping to wait to fix my van when hopefully they made a deal and got us a little bit more money. I could get my van good and fixed up and then go get some fucking bullshit job that's not going to pay me enough money. But now I have to do that all at once. And yeah, I'm throwing out the fucking script for this show. Yeah, I really have to fucking just yell into the void today again. I'll get to little A, the long topic a little bit. I'll try and organize my thoughts for that. But, you know, I'm in such fucking turmoil, you know, and even as someone who sees and has been able to understand that this is going to happen and how it's going to happen, even then, like, I'm still going through the same process. Old man butt. I'm still going through the same process that fucking everyone else is, who doesn't have like a critical perspective of why things are happening the way they are. You know, they're just like, the world is ending, you know, and it still feels the same, you know. Me and Gren were talking yesterday, you know, because we're writing a book about little A anarchism. We're writing this book and trying to explore the philosophy and the spirituality and how you can enact this in your life, and doing it through a personal lens, and kind of like going through our personal experiences, and what taught us these lessons. And you know, we Gren came up with this phrase, that, you know, in this radical mind, we live for two tomorrows. You know, we're always building up to this eventual collapse, but we're also stuck in the same mindset as your everyday normie who's like, things are gonna keep getting better. And trying to build for both of those tomorrows. You know, like, I got a bug out bag today. There's a really good deal on Amazon. Like, it's a really fucking good backpack. Let me grab this real quick just to... heavy stuff. A big-ass tactical fucking backpack just loaded with fucking pockets galore. And, you know, it comes with a few good basic survival needs. It's definitely not a complete bug out bag, but like most of any essential bug out bag you're gonna have already in your daily life. So it's not gonna be that much that you're gonna need to throw in there. Well, now you're still gonna need to buy a good amount of stuff. I still have stuff I need to get in there. But you know, like, I don't know what fucking tomorrow I'm building for anymore. You know, whether or not, like, I'm gonna build a business and a worker cooperative that's gonna be successful and fruitful and help my friends, or whether or not, now that I have that pillow, I need to adjust that. Or whether or not I'm going to run off and live into the woods until this fucking settles down. You know, that's like part of the reason we go hiking, is to scope out, like, all right, what's around that, like, we could survive in, you know? When the shit goes south, that big collapse that we hold in our mind. And I'm fucking spent. Like, I'm trying to do this show, like, but I can't. I'm hoping that, like, having a job and having less time makes me organize better. But we'll see. Like, I'm hoping, like, we can get a little bit more steam internally and people can, like, pitch in, and, like, we can get, like, weekly writer meetings going without me having to, like, neg everyone. But yeah, I mean, we have to do something radically different. Like, we ourselves, you know, not just as this big society, like, we as individuals need to start taking a much different path. Like, a lot of us have done a lot of good little things, you know, in personal growth and development. But we're all still so stuck in a mindset that we have to exist and compete in capitalism, that we can get past, that we can go beyond, especially once we understand worker co-ops and how to build collective wealth. But, you know, we have to do a thing on direct action, and we meant to do that. Did I do that last week? I don't remember last week. None of us remember last week. But I don't remember where I put my tobacco now. Trying to be like an anarchist or any kind of radical in this is even harder. Like, because I have to, like, just run my mouth. Like, oh, you really think that's what's going on? All right, well, here's this. You don't like that? Well, okay, well, let's be chill and not fucking argue about it. But, yeah, it's going to get more dangerous for us, like, as more people lose their jobs, as we have to fight more and more for rights and liberties. And I am fucking tired. Entertainment fucking update. Like, they're just fucking rushing ahead with concerts here. And we're gonna hit like such a bad fucking second wave. They did Arizona Bike Week, and then they had a fucking rave at Rawhide. And, you know, I trust Creative Backstage, the guys who did Bike Week. But Relentless Beats, I don't fucking trust at all. Not for their crew, not for crowd safety. So yeah, like, I'm just giving up on going into this industry. Like, I want to be a professional organizer. I'm getting really deep in, well, trying to get deep and organized with the worker co-op group I'm with. And they're really trying to get this Barry co-op thing off the ground. And I need fucking help. I need so much fucking help. But I'm gonna keep a fucking stiff upper lip and fucking fake it till I make it. Because that's how fucking shit works, isn't it? So, yeah. Streaming is going to be what we have to figure out. I got to figure out this connection thing. I think it's because I'm running the camera and the connection both through the Wi-Fi. So I got to take one or the other. And I don't know how to hard USB the camera without buying an expensive fucking USB camera. But yeah. Yeah, I'm gonna take a break. This is another downhill show, guys. It's been a really fucking hard week, so I'm gonna try and talk a little bit about little A anarchism and big A anarchism when we come back. We're gonna start off with some song. We're gonna do that a little differently. We're gonna have some song portion. Yeah, and then it's going to be a shorter show today, and then I'm going to keep tooling and trying to figure out like a process to where I don't have to do, like, because as it stands today, like, I spent like a good 6 hours trying to like get like the script and then trying to do graphics, the pop-up graphics that people like. There's the monitor. And yeah, like, it's fucking hard to do like a fucking live Jimmy Dory show. Basically, I'm basically trying to do Jimmy Dory with a little bit more thoughtful radicalism and anger. But Yeah, man, that's a lot of fucking work, and a lot of organization that like I've never been prepped to do, because I'm not a stand-up comedian. I'm an improv comedian, so I can just like open up the camera and talk while I'm super depressed and keep going. I mean, someone's watching. But yeah, so let's take a quick break, and then we're going to talk about the difference between big A and little A anarchism. You're being cute. What? What? I don't know what. I don't know what's wrong. You want to go outside? It's just your butt. You're being cute. What? All right, welcome back, budding radicals. So Big A and little A anarchism. I'm not going to say the main divergences of anarchism, because it's a divergence in practice. Typically, so many of you, I'm sure, have heard the phrase "Big D Democrat," right? And it typically refers to someone in the Democratic Party who's like a wonk, who's big on policy and like big structure, rather than someone who's more about like cultural exchange and information, right? So within anarchism, it's kind of the same, and I'll demonstrate this to you with kind of a dichotomy song by the anarcho-punk band Crass, which is a group that really pushed me into the study of theory of anarchism. And they're a band I found quite accidentally. Almost all of the best anarcho bands I found accidentally. So the big A anarchists, they are the political activists. They are the people who want to literally shake the system. You have your eco activists that their propaganda by the deed is sabotaging logging equipment or chaining themselves to factories and trees. Same thing with PETA, that kind of activism. They're not anarchists in their organization. Most of them, especially something like PETA, is definitely not an anarchist organization. But the methods that they utilize were inspired by a lot of anarchist liberation activists. You have an organization like Food Not Bombs, which is they've been providing direct mutual aid to the houseless for as long as I can remember. Since the 90s, I think, is when they started. Food Not Bombs is the first punk show I ever went to, was a Food Not Bombs benefit in this tiny little record shop on Main Street in Mesa. And they're the main ones organizing action like May Day protests back in the 2000s, and the main ones getting arrested and their asses kicked too. And their main thing was fucking feeding homeless people, houseless people. But the little A anarchists, like a band like Crass, those anarchists, we went off into exploring art mostly, and using anarchism as a way to inform our artistic process, and how we organize people within an artistic process. So, for example, the best example, like I've tried doing this with rock and roll groups to very varied success. The most successful direct democracy I instituted in a band ended up with me getting kicked out of it via democracy, which I was like, fine, democracy worked, but you just, never mind. Anyway, within my improv group, when, in the mid to late 2000s, and we were very vocally, like at first, like a couple of the members like, well, do we have to like have this punk rock anarchism thing? I was like, yes, it is very important to, the theory and process of what we do. And we stepped back a little bit on it, and we had less aggressive marketing, but we still were a collective. We still did a show in New York City where we took the theater hostage, and assassinated the host of the show, and then like via fake gun point, marched in the theater with like red flags and marched out to the Communist International anthem. And then we threw candy and cookies and milk at everybody. And then we just did like a pretty normal improv show. But like, we focused on free form. Like even like if you watch like any of these long form improv shows, they are very structured. Even though we don't know, the exact words or scenarios that we're going to enact, we know that we have, a certain framework to act in, a certain set of rules and constraints to work with. Like if you notice a show like Seinfeld, that's built off of the Herald. And there's a very specific formula to where the storyline goes and travels through the characters in Seinfeld. Even though the stories can be about nothing, and it's just based on character, there's still the same scene dynamic and the same formula from show to show. But we focus specifically on doing no rules, and we're just developing a structure, which often ended up being having no structure, and it would just be like a tableau of seemingly unconnected imagery, but it's unconnected but juxtaposed imagery, as one Tucson Weekly reviewer who looked like a very sad Star Wars guy. Sad Star Wars guy. I'm talking to the Star Wars guy whose name I can't remember right now. George Lucas. He looked like a very sad George Lucas. So yeah, it was a quote from him. But like anarchism in the creative process is about giving everyone a chance to do it their way. Especially because I have bipolar disorder, ADHD, and like just because my brain has been like bent from trauma and not being taught how to deal with it correctly, especially when it came to improvisation, like I had to do things almost backwards, and and I would take classes with like high level, like, within the community known improvisers, and they were like, yeah, you have to do things backwards. Like, you're doing fucking good at it, but like you're a funny one. And not in the ha 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 way. But it's giving people that space to really test those boundaries, which is also why not all of us are PC. We're like, there's like a difference between being respectful and like using confrontation and tongue in cheek. Like, I've said some horrible things on stage to prove a point about. So like one of the things that we're taught in improv, and this kind of leans in with material dialecticalism, the process of thesis, antithesis, and synthesis, and contradiction, is that we were taught to be able to believe anything on stage. And so if you're going to play a racist character, you have to really be able to honestly put yourself in that mindset. And like, what would it actually take for me to actually believe this? What is that process? And holding both mindsets at the same time, so I can still, like, oh, that guy's like towing a really fine line and saying some like really dangerous shit. But then like, on the turnaround, it's always like, oh, those people laughing over there are the ones I really need to be worried about right now. Because we all stopped laughing a second ago, and this guy knows, like, that's on purpose. But it's so, like, another thing me and Gren were talking about, that, like, so many of us, especially the little A anarchists, because, you know, any of the big theory people, especially the left 2 people, that focused on big A anarchism, had a community to talk about it in. You know, I never liked any of the organizing I saw in my own community here in Phoenix. Like, I didn't see it as being fruitful, so I didn't get involved in the big A anarchism. So I drew inward, you know, into the little A, and accomplishing art. And so we've never talked about these things before. Like, literally, before I had a meeting with someone from the International Marxist Tendency here in Phoenix, I had literally never talked to another socialist, a radical, revolutionary socialist before in my life. Not in college, you know, like in message boards, like predating Reddit way back in the day. But we've never really had a chance to, in detail, talk about these ideas with someone where we're not stuck arguing just basic reality. You know, like getting to sit down with like someone like Gren and like have same but different ideas and like have that interchange of ideas. A huge part of little A anarchism, you know, like, yes, we can have a conversation about fascism with a fascist, you know, and a calm one. Because we have to hold dual realities. Everything and nothing, you know, we reject everything. And we don't really have this firm idea of what we want to replace it with, because we think it's something that we should all get to decide together. And it requires a lot of imagination. So, you know, trying to find this personal path of anarchism and free expression and free association, and how do we relate to each other just as human beings, not even like as workers or I mean lovers especially, because we're so focused on power relationships and power dynamics, that we want equity. We don't want everything to be a transactional relationship where we're trying to get more from another person than we give, you know. And whether a lot of us admit it or not, a lot of our day-to-day relationships with our family and friends, or our casual acquaintances, you know, a lot of times they're relationships that are built on getting convenience and benefit out of other people without us realizing it. You know, a lot of times it's healthy, it's a healthy benefit, but you see it when some kind of personal conflict happens. And rather than just understanding that like I enjoy having this person in my life, and then they constantly inform and help me grow, even if sometimes I'm at a deficit because of what I put into this relationship. Definitely the little anarchists I have met in the last few months are definitely the people who tend to stay in bad situations for the benefit of other people for too long. We also have the tendency to ask too much of people because we want to get a lot of stuff done. But we're always there to help and make sure that no one's getting left behind because they're too difficult. That's what capitalists do. That's acceptable losses, and that's something that we just don't want to accept. And yeah, I think that's as far as I can get with just a random flow of thought. Yeah, let's do this little ditty. And I'm gonna really try and figure out the connection issues and make sure that we can get a good steady stream, because it looks like people are trying to watch live, but it's just unwatchable live. Look for us on the YouTube, and look for if you Twitch, we're on the Twitch. I'll figure out what the handles actually are. Make sure you share. We're gonna be trying to cut the episodes down when they're structured again. When I get back to having structure again, just in my own personal life. Right now, the important thing is consistency. And for me, anyway, it's been a pleasure doing this show every week and having something to look forward to every week and challenge myself with. Which is another thing of little A anarchism, always challenging yourself. Always being critical of yourself. At the end of the day, like, we can only be responsible for our own lives, and how we choose to live. So this is a song that I adapted from the anarcho-punk band Crass. It does not sound nearly anything like this. If you look for it, there's a whole beginning section. I prettied it up quite a bit, so this is the second section of Big A, Little A. Be exactly who you want to be. Do what you want to do. I am he and she is she, but you're the only you. No one else has got your eyes to see the things you see. It's up to you to change your life, and mine is up to me. The problems that you suffer from are problems that you make. The shit we have to climb through is the shit we choose to take. If you don't like the life you live, change it now, it's yours. Nothing has effects if you don't recognize the cause. If you don't like the program, get up, turn off the set. It's only you with life you're going to get. If you don't like religion, you can be the Antichrist. And if you're tired of politics, you can be an anarchist. No one ever changed a church by tearing down a steeple. Systems aren't made of brick, they're mostly made of people. And you won't change the system by bombing number 10. You might send them into hiding, but they'll be right back again. If you don't like the rules they make, refuse to play their game. If you don't want to be a number, don't give them your name. If you don't want to be caught out, refuse to hear their question. Silence is a virtue, use it for your own protection. They'll try to make you play their game, refuse to show your face. If you don't want to get beaten down, refuse to join their race. Be exactly who you want to be, do what you want to do. I am he and she is she, but you're the only you. Be exactly who you want to be, do what you want to do. I am he and she is she, but you're the only you. No one else has got your eyes to see the things you see. It's up to you to change your life, and mine is up to me. Problems that you suffer from are problems that you make. The shit we have to crawl through is the shit we choose to take. If you don't like the life you live, change it now, it's yours. Nothing has effects if you don't recognize the cause. If you don't like the program, get up, turn off the set. It's only you that can decide what life you're going to get. If you don't like religion, you can be the Antichrist. And if you're tired of politics, you can be an anarchist. But no one ever changed a church by tearing down a steeple. Systems aren't made of brick, they're mostly made of people. And you won't change the system by bombing number 10. You might send them into hiding, but they'll be right back again. If you don't like the rules they make, refuse to play their game. If you don't want to be a number, don't give them your name. If you don't want to be caught out, refuse to hear the question. Silence is a virtue, use it for your own protection. If you don't want to play their game, refuse to show your face. If you don't want to get beaten down, refuse to join their race. Be exactly who you want to be, do what you want to do. I am he and she is she, but you're the only you. Be exactly who you want to be, do what you want to do. I am he and she is she, but you're the only you. Crest is definitely not due a Beatles ending. But yeah, that's kind of like a quintessential breakdown of the rules for big A, little a anarchism. You know, obviously the first part of the song is little a anarchism. How do you be an anarchist in your day-to-day life? You know, how do you refuse the system of essentially master and slave when it all comes down to, and especially when I studied improvisation, the way our culture uses status exchanges. And you see this in your friends. You know, you have friends that they have to be the big man and they need some kind of servant person around them. They need someone to kick around. And that status interplay plays out through our whole society and relationships to each other. And as little a anarchists, we try to find some way to embody that in our day-to-day lives with our day-to-day relationships with people. So yeah, we're going to call that a broadcast for today. Sorry, it was more helter-skelter. I know there's connection issues happening. I'm seeing that now. So yeah, make sure that you check in. Watch it again at your leisure on YouTube, Facebook, and Twitch. It does not restream to that. You have to do that live. So for Twitch people, I don't think we have anyone tuning in on Twitch yet. So that's kind of a non-issue. But I like doing a live show, and I want a live show to work out well. So I'm gonna figure out hardwiring the internet connection. Because I like the idea of wireless cameras, especially when we start doing musical live streams, and we need like a good steady cam. So yeah. Let's leave on action notes. Oh, I didn't do any this week in protest. Let me finish up with just giving you a quick this week in protest. Yeah, fucking guy got shot in Denver. And it was a right-wing guy fucking got shot by a Pinkerton security guard. And if you're not familiar with the history the left wing has with the Pinkertons, it's something to look up. Definitely look up the Haymarket riots, and I think it's Black Mountain Valley. But that's a precursor to the Haymarket riots. But yeah, the Pinkertons have been fucking killing like union and left-wing activists and organizers for well over 100 years. So it's really fucking funny to see like right-wing people try and like spin this Pinkerton thug. So what happened was, yeah, this right-wing guy was basically getting in the fucking grill of this fucking local newscaster, and you know, the security guard got in the middle of it, and you know, the right-wing guy was pushing him, and then he slapped him, and so then the comments are actually coming through. That's the first comment I've actually seen come through. Hey, hello, Jake Dean. Yeah, I mean, like, it's funny. Like, have you seen like the fucking tattoo, the Space Invaders tattoo? They're trying to pass off as like some like radical left-wing artist in like Austria or Germany. Graffiti artist was using that. So super like obscure, but the right-wing people are trying to say like he's Antifa. Like, no, he's a fucking Pinkerton thug. Like, no fucking like left-wing person is gonna join Pinkerton. Like, we're not that fucking insane, and they would never allow us. But yeah, that's kind of an irony that like a Pinkerton thug killed like essentially in defense of like a left-wing protest. So that's how fucking upside down everything is. But in other news, Portland's kind of quieting down. Portland's getting tuckered out, I think. But fucking Seattle, the hard black bloc in Seattle is getting their fucking shit together, and it's kind of scary. They're not being in any way destructive other than like just bringing a whole shit ton of trash in the streets. And it was funny, I was watching one stream, I think it was Tuesday night, from Seattle. And so they're basically like Seattle black bloc, maybe 75 to 100 black bloc. Maybe. It was not like very big. It's hard to tell because the hard black bloc in Seattle and Portland are starting to get very, very militant with live streamers. So unless you play by their fucking rules and you stay like a good 100 yards back, then they will fuck you up. They will fuck you up and break your camera, which I honestly don't blame them for because, yeah, I mean, they marched from, they marched about like a good like 2 miles Tuesday night without any like police interaction that I saw. I didn't stay up to see it all night. Yeah, and they just made barricades as they went from like any like detritus in the street or on the sidewalks and alleyways, dumpsters and all that. And then you had this like these couple that were just like coming behind them and like cleaning up. They weren't like fucking cops or anything. They were just like this couple that came out of their house, and instead of joining the protest, they were like, "You're making a mess. This is bad." Well, I'm just reading your last comment, Jake, so like I was if you don't watch a non-compete on YouTube, he's also on Facebook as well, but he's living in Vietnam right now, so he put out this video on Praxis and having like a good reputation and like what kind of like image we represent. And like part of that was like about how like we always have to play this fact game with the right wing where they just gonna throw lies at us, and then we have to do this like this big dissection of and Google fact sheets and all that of how to prove they're wrong, instead of just being like, fuck you, you fucking idiot. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, no, why is anyone gonna believe that? You guys are that dumb that you really believe that? Yeah, because everyone wants to play nice, because everyone wants, like, if we're too mean, then, we're going to scare people away because we were trying to impress, progressive liberals who just don't want to admit capitalism is bad. So, yeah, totally veered off from my point, or where I was going from earlier. The streamers and taking a hard line. So yeah, like another thing that they're doing in Seattle is they fucking lock arms when they march, and so that way cops just can't snatch people out of the group, because if they're gonna snatch one person, they have to fucking pull down a line of 15 other people. So like they're really getting effective and like getting like a really tight communication down. Like if there's anyone to start watching, and definitely go back on streams and like watch what they've been doing, fucking Seattle. Yeah, that's where I'm going to leave off with this week in protest. And for the show, going just a bit over an hour, which makes me feel good on my weekly quota. I rambled to you guys about radicalism for an hour. So that is my public organizing duty for the week. If you're watching, please send us, and post us the articles that we may miss. There's so many things going on that we just need to build our own network of news. Be it local news of what's happening in town, and or national news. So many things are just like slipping under the radar. So definitely like interact with us, share your news stories that we may have missed or may not be our specialty. I'm trying to specialize in cooperative enterprise and labor organizing. I'll probably be doing a little bit with houseless activities or activism as well. I'm going to be looking to, outside of doing hikes and like doing some hiking footage, which you'll see at the end of the show. Some beautiful hiking footage we got. Get a gimbal. There's a $70 gimbal you can get on Amazon that's actually like really fucking good. Yeah, we got to build this network together. We all got to like get hands in the kitchen, so many of us are used to waiting for leaders to have answers and waiting to do the most of the work so then we could just do our one little thing that we like doing or that we're good at, but not challenging ourselves to like, I'm not so good at this, but looks like you need it, so I'll try. It looks like Arizona Queer Pueblo, that's a group in town that's doing a lot more Facebook Live and political education and cultural education. So that's something to check out. And then also Socialist Revolution Phoenix also does political education. And they also share out the Marxists of Canada. I think it's Socialist Revolution of Ontario, Social University. I'll share out a link to these videos in the comments. Yeah, there's political education happening right here in Phoenix, when there isn't like actual direct action happening. Check out that stuff. I'll try and keep you guys more involved and more tuned in as I'm able to get more involved in the community. Make sure you guys have a good week. If you're on unemployment, make sure you do your claim for the week, and make sure you check your statuses every week. If you don't take your money out every week, make sure it's getting deposited. If I had taken care of this like a couple days after, like the first one didn't get deposited and I figured that out, I might not be so screwed. Yeah, keep that in mind on unemployed guys. Yeah, stick together. We'll get this revolution done patiently and in time. So have a good rest of your week, guys.
Where'd Ren go? Did you say it goes back down?
I didn't hear.
I would dip up off that way and see. It looks like there's like a clearing or like people go over there. I'm curious.
Yeah, it goes back down a little here too.